a VP of compliance for Synchrony Financial. That's in the last year and a half. Before that, I was a marketing guy for the past 27 years, different companies, financial services. So I teach a couple classes at UC as an adjunct. I teach innovation and technology over the summertime as part of the LHP program. And I'm also teaching intern marketing this year. And the reason I'm here tonight is because one of my previous jobs many moons ago was as a global communication director for Levi Strauss in San Francisco. I was lucky enough to be hired away from them, for them. And it's one of those icons in your life that you go like, gee, I wish I could work for them. Maybe in your lifetime is, gee, I wish I could work for Google or Facebook or Snapchat or one of those technology companies. Mine was, I would love to work for Levi's, and I did. And a couple of things for Levi's iconic culture. First of all is you don't wear ties, you don't wear shirts like this. You are required to wear jeans. Or if you're going to have a sophisticated meeting, you go with one of these, which is a ducker. So this is the high-end line. They used to have a third line called Slates years ago. Slates was made of high-end Egyptian cotton. They bombed. And as the workforce went from business attire like Thomas today to more business casual, which is what I'm wearing today, to totally casual, which is what I do the rest of the week. And I dressed up because I came to you, but I am a jeans and shirt kind of guy all my life, and all my jeans are Levi's. And the appeal of the brand is worldwide. I was talking to some students last week about the international appeal of Levi Strauss. You can buy a pair of 514s at Costco for $29.99. That's the current price. You can take them across the border, going to any of the border countries with Mexico, border cities with Mexico, you know, Tijuana, Durango, one of those. You can sell the same pair of jeans for $100, period. And you're looking at me like, you're BSing, but you know I'm not. The reality is that the brand itself carries an incredible appeal globally. And I'll show you a video later on when I'm done with this part in terms of what the Asian countries are doing with Levi Strauss and the appeal of vintage jeans, which is a new thing. So if any of you has access to your parents' garage, stowaways, or grandparents or granduncles, look for old Levi jeans. You are sitting on money. An average of 1970s Levi jeans, which your parents or I bought for 17 or 18 bucks, is worth over $200 right now. So if you get quite a few of them, you know where you're in the money. Actually, last week I was going to donate a couple. I said, I took them out. I felt a little bad. Someone could use them, but I'm like, I could pay for her education. That's my daughter in the back. She's a senior in the biology department here at UC. And she's going to grad school, so I need to help her with that stuff eventually. So a pair of jeans would have come in handy. So keep that in mind. So let me tell you about, you know, what is this? This is the iconic image of Levi Strauss. And I'm going to talk to you about the invention of the jean. And you'll go like, why isn't it called something else? And you know, if you get to that point, we'll talk about it. But first of all, you know, the Levi Strauss name and company, that's his actual name. And the company were one partner. His name was Jacob Davis. And the copper riveted is, any of you wearing jeans today? I'm sorry, anyone. Just raise your, do you have copper rivets in your jeans? I didn't wear, just, do you know what the copper rivets are?
Sure.
Okay, the little things right here? Okay, that was their hallmark. If I get, do you want me to stay in the same place for that?
No, you're fine.
Oh, I'm fine, okay. So that was it. The invention itself is taking the jean and making it last longer because of those copper rivets. Because the jeans were created for miners. You know, miners are, you know, they're of course in mines. They're working with rocks. They're panning for gold. They're sleeping on dirt, and it's a rough life. Back in the 1840s and 50s, that's when the gold rush in California happened. So they were going through pants like that, wasting money. So they create that, the copper riveted, and it's not they actually. The invention is Jacob Davis. So there's no stealing here, no one took away, no, it's okay. They were partners in business. This two-horse imagery, that was done specifically for the miners to show them how strong they were. And they would go from city to city to city, from fair to fair, doing that. That was an actual exhibition that their first original marketing people, his daughter, came up with the idea. So if you're Levi Strauss and you're going to a fair and there's a whole bunch of miners looking for picks and pans and God knows what and tents and food, and you show up with that and say, I will guarantee that 2 horses or mules, they originally started with mules, they moved them to horses, will not rip the pan apart, I want that because I'm wasting money. This is the birth date of the first time the jean came together, May 20th, 1873. And originally they were not called jeans, they were called overalls. The word jean actually happens in the 1960s. I don't know how, I'm still trying to find out how. But my perception, and I still have to talk to Lynn Downey. Lynn Downey is a historian for Levi Strauss. Is it related to Marilyn Monroe? Because her middle name is Jean. She is Norma Jean. And is it related to her because she was like an iconic model for the jeans itself at one point? I don't know, but eventually I'll find out. And they had other stuff that they would sell as well, blanket, blank clothing, and every garment guaranteed, of course. But the core part of this, everything I want to tell you about here is those 2 words, copper riveted. That's it. That is what made this an iconic global item as it is today. You could please stop me at any time, any questions, anything you might have for me. So I'm gonna, this is, if you want to know about what history is all about, you have to go into why did it change the marketplace. What in that, and if we have time, I told Tom that I'm going to share with you a little about innovation development, which is a class I teach over the summertime, and we'll play something which is that brand? Why are they no longer in business today? And I'll show you also about the innovation model, how to do innovation. But it's all about if you have something and it changes something else. Is it a disruptor? Is it something that you can take that item in history and a timeline and say, without that item, we would still be doing blank. Because that item, service, product was created, we are doing something different. And in your minds, you could be going, yeah, without Facebook, we could still be using, whatever. Or without Snapchat or without computers, we would be writing many, many things. But that's the changing part of an innovation. How does it change history? So the way I'm going to structure this lecture for you is I'm going to do it in 4s. First quadrant to your left is the man. That's an actual picture of Levi. Then I want to talk to you about the fabric, because there's no jean without fabric. Then I'm going to talk to you about the partner, Mr. Jacob Davis. And I want to specifically talk to you about the jeans, but I want to take you to the graphic portrayal of the jeans. You'll see how they were advertised in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and how they are being advertised today. You might go like, that is different. The company has gone through a major evolution. One of the key selling points that Levi Strauss had for many years was that they were all made in the US. They had 22 plants, manufacturing plants in the US, employing over 30,000 people. That changed and changed quickly. That changed in 1993, excuse me, when Nike was starting to just rocket. And the reason Nike was literally printing money in that time, it was the offshore manufacturing. So in the US, when Levi Strauss, they were manufacturing in the US, in San Antonio, in Texas, they had at least, in San Antonio there were 5, total in Texas there were about 10 plants. They were paying an average of $17 an hour. This is in the 90s. They said, this is unsustainable. We cannot continue because we're going to lose money. And eventually they did. So what happened was they started offshoring. Today, 100% of Levi Strauss jeans are made offshore. If you go back again into a collector's mentality and an investor's mentality, you find a jean that is made in the USA pre-1993, again, it has added value from a collectability point of view. And you can tell how it was made. You can do the research. It's very simple to tell. The other part about the jeans is the advertisement has always been groundbreaking. I think that Levi's is one of those companies that pushes the envelope in terms of advertising. And I'm going to show you a print ad that I saw today doing the research for you guys. I'm like, wow, they were ahead of the time, you know, even 3 years ago. So let's talk about the man. You know, so Mr. Strauss was born in 1829. And I'm going to throw a couple of dates at you just to see the correlation of his age with what was happening. You know, he is Germanic by descendants. And then when he was 19 years old, you know, his sisters migrated to the U.S., New York specifically. He had a couple of brothers already in Manhattan. And they had a dry goods service company called J. Strauss Brother and Company. And, you know, they're sitting up in Germany. Their brothers, older brothers, are here in the U.S. They're making money, but also they're expanding. And they said, hey, we need you here, and bring the rest of the family with him. He was the oldest of those remaining back in Wittenheim. And they said, sure. It takes him about 6 months to get from Germany to the U.S. And Levi, he's 19. They say, here you go, start learning the trade. And so he's 19, 1848. So about, what is it, 55 years later, you know, he goes to 1848, by the way, is a year before the 1849 gold rush in San Francisco. So the reason the Niners in San Francisco are called the 49ers, it's because of the gold rush. So, you know, the 1849 era in California, it explodes. Because, you know, people are going, you know, go west, young man. It's the equivalent of that uncharted territory. If you were have been in the Midwest by, you know, this time in the 1840s, you'd be going like, Father, may I leave and make some money in the West Coast? And your father said, hell yeah, I'm going to make some money. Absolutely. So that was it. It was your generation, 19 and 20-year-olds, to say, we're going to go and make money. We're going to go make money finding gold. But you guys were not prepared. You know, you guys are Midwestern kids, raising corn, dealing with cows. Being a miner is something different. But it was hundreds of thousands of young men who left their families and houses to go west to find gold with not a lot of work. Some, you know, after a few years, there was this incredible amount of work. But originally it was like, you get a pan, you go into a river. It's like the movies, you put it in and go, a little rock could come out. And it became a currency. So Levi Strauss, you know, 5 years later, he's like, I'm going west. But he was not going to make money out of gold. He said, I'm going to start selling these guys something. You know, and he started as a dry goods business under his own name. And eventually, you know, he changed the name to Levi Strauss and Company. Any comments or questions or anything so far for you guys? You guys with me? Good. Thank you. So now it's 1853. He's been in San Francisco a few years. He's making money. I mean, he's selling well, but he's not doing jeans. What is he selling? So he's selling tents. He's selling belts. He's selling shoes. He's selling food. He's selling pigs and mans. He's selling stuff for miners. But there's this guy who is a tailor. And he's not even in San Francisco, which, by the way, one of the videos, and if you guys ever see it, there's a TV series called American Heroes. American Historical Heroes, something like that. And I was doing the research for you guys, and then that video popped up and said, oh, let me check it. So I'm looking at it. They're portraying Levi Strauss, and you know, they're about the same age. They're portraying Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis like H&M models, first of all, number one. And number two is, you know, Jacob Davis says, hey, Levi, you should come here to San Francisco and join me. And then like, okay, it's not that way. It actually was a reverse way. So they took the history and just twisted a bit. But the point is that it all started because Jacob Davis is a tailor. You know, he's from Latvia, and he has, you know, he's going through this phase of, I'm okay, I'm making money, but not enough. And I'll tell you this in a second, but it all happens because one miner was breaking too many pants. One guy. His wife goes like, dude, you can't do this anymore. You're breaking the bank. So she goes to Jacob Davis and says, please build my husband a pair of pants that will last. That's how innovation happened. And if we get to the innovation model, you'll see that the favorite three phrases I see in innovation, all innovation comes out of blank. No one has a precise pattern. Oh, I'm going to do innovation today. It happens with what if. When someone tells you, you guys have flown Southwest or JetBlue, one of those mid-tier carriers, and you go like, gee, what if they would blank, give me free food or make my bags cheaper or something like that. The other phrase where innovation comes up is, I hated that. This is the one that happened with Levi Strauss. The wife was saying, I hated that pants keep breaking. So there was a dislike, a dissatisfaction with a concept, brings it to an idea guy, we got jeans. The third phrase is, I wonder if.